Hey everybody, this is my interview with Cris4tay. He was a travel vlogger, but then just kind of ended up staying in Albania because of the current situation and some other things which he will explain. But I figured it was a good opportunity to show you what it's like to truly live in Albania. And you can go to his channel, which is Cris4tay on YouTube. All right, hope you enjoy it. So, what's it like? How long have you lived here?
10 months. I've been here 10 months.
10 months. So getting close to a year.
End of January.
Wow. So tell me the whole story. Like, how did you end up in Albania? Because that's like everybody's kind of has their story, because most people can't even spot Albania on a map. I could not.
Yeah, I was the same thing. I think being an American, we don't learn anything about Albania. You know, that's like the laugh of it. Simply, I was in Istanbul living for 3 months. My visa was up, and it was the end of January, and I wanted to go to the Ukraine or Serbia. Well, originally I wanted to go to Southeast Asia, but that was still not going to happen. And I said, okay, Ukraine is extremely cold, and Serbia, the snowiest month is February. So, and somebody I know in Serbia said, it's very gloomy, very depressing here in February. You don't want to probably come here. And I said, all right, I looked around in the area and I said, what's open? You know, and I saw Albania had no entry restrictions, because when you're traveling and you have to get a PCR test, that's a whole nother variable of, all right, I got to book on Airbnb. If most of it's not refundable, if not all of it, if I don't do it in 24 hours. Airline might not be refundable also, depending on what you're booking. And I was like, that's a lot of a gamble. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to Albania. And I didn't even look at any videos or nothing. I just found an apartment I liked, and I said, wow, mountain view. I was like, cool, I'm from New York, a mountain view. And I was like, I'll go there for 1 month. So I booked 1 month, and that was the plan. And 10 months later, or 9 months after that month was done, I'm still here. I mean, I've left once. I went back to Istanbul, but I came back here afterwards, so.
So what, I mean, I'm sure there's various reasons why you came back here, but what would you say was the reason?
Well, I do have a girlfriend here. But realistically, I was going to leave after 1 month, right? So I came here as a travel vlogger, and the idea was to then move on to Serbia, and then stay there for a month, and then hopefully then go to Ukraine for the summer, at least for 3 months, right? Because I'm half Ukrainian. It was part of my journey. And when I got here, and I met a lot of other American travelers, YouTubers, and I was like, all right, I'm out of here. Like, I'm done. My month's done. And we all used to joke. Like, we'd hang out, go for beers, hang out at people's apartments, and be like, I got to get out of here. Otherwise, I'll never leave, because it's so friendly here and relaxing. And being a New Yorker, then living in Istanbul with another mega city, I was just like, I felt so calm and relaxed here for the main reason I can walk around and feel very safe here. As a vlogger, like, no matter where I was, I always had to feel like, all right, I have to kind of really pay attention to what I'm doing, but at the same token, pay attention to what's going on around me. Like, I don't want to get robbed, hit over the head, stuff like that. You never know. You got to watch your stuff. Here, I instantly felt like, okay, like, I don't have to worry about that. People here are so friendly. You go to take a video or whatever, they stop. They don't want to get in your way. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. But when I decided to leave the first time to go to Serbia, what happened was I had contacted the embassy here, the Serbian embassy here, about restrictions, because they would change them like weekly. And they said, oh no, we're good. And the vaccine, I was going to Serbia to get the vaccine on top of it. Kind of felt like we didn't have the option here yet. And that was all good. And then, believe it or not, I was ready to go. And Serbian embassy contacted me back saying, oh, just to let you know, on the following week, we're implementing new restrictions. And we're gonna have new entry restrictions, requirements for PCR, because they didn't, at the time, for me, coming from Albania, we didn't have to take a PCR to get there. But if you're coming from anywhere else, you did, which was really weird. We didn't have to do it. And then they told me, we're no longer doing the foreign vaccine. It's no longer a signed up program. You have to go basically and wait in line. And I was just like, oh well, I'll stay here another month. So that was the case, stayed here another month. Then I was gonna go to Kosovo. And then Kosovo got hit hard with COVID, and they closed the border off. So I was like, now what? And my apartment, I couldn't renew my apartment because somebody was coming in for 2 days. So I wound up looking for somebody somewhere else. And then I said, all right, I'll stay here for a month. Then I said, I'm leaving. I'm done. Going back to Istanbul because my visa renewed. I'll go back to Istanbul. And then just before that, I had met somebody here. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go to Istanbul, decide if I'll leave half my stuff here at my friend's house. And I'll decide when I go to Istanbul, do I want to live in Istanbul and apply for my residency there, or go on to the Ukraine, or come back? And I went with my friend, and I was like, you know what? As much as I enjoy and love Istanbul, I actually missed Tirana when I was there. And I said, I met this girl, and I was like, you know what? I'm going back. And I went back, and I've been here since. And so this is going to be my home base. And then once things start to clear up, then I'll start traveling around. But for now, it's Tirana, you know. It's so open, you know. I have the freedom just to move around, go to cafes. Like, you know, to me, it seems so simple, but watch the rest of the world go, you can't do this, you can't do that, you know, so.
And the blessing that we have of the 1 year automatic.
Yes.
So that completely changed everything for you, because now you don't have to be thinking, oh, in 3 months, what am I going to do?
Right.
And then a Kosovo or somewhere else just shuts the border, or wherever.
Yeah, it's not easy. Traveling to Kosovo is not even easy, and it's right there. Another thing too is like now that I am vaccinated and I have the EU Green Pass is called, and the European Union is open now to even Americans. But with the pass, I basically get in the country, have very few restrictions. But even then, when you look at, oh, I can go to this country now, but it's like, luckily I'm vaccinated, I can actually go into a restaurant, or I can go into a coffee shop, or I can use public transportation. But somebody who's not vaccinated, even with a PCR test, you can't do this, you can't do that. And it's like, what I love about this country, and I try to spread on my channel, is that if you want to come somewhere and spend your money, you want to do it somewhere you feel free to spend your money. Not like you have to jump through all these hoops to then spend your money. Here, I don't mind spending my money because nobody's asking me for, you know, anything to like get in a place. But Greece, Italy, wherever you want to go, you have to basically show all your papers just to get a meal. And I think that's kind of crappy, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I just met a couple that came from Thailand. One's South African, the other one is Albanian, and they came here because they were just tired of dealing with all the restrictions in Thailand, of all places. You know, I used to go there every year, and I was like, oh, it's such a free and open place. But from people coming back from there, I'm hearing it feels very restrictive.
Yeah, and some of the travelers that I've met in my time here in Albania have gone on, 3 of them have gone on to Thailand. You know, that was their goal, just like me. My goal when I left America was Bangkok. Live in Bangkok for a year and then move around Southeast Asia, you know? And I've met 3 guys, all in their 50s, that was their goal too. And when things started opening up, one went, did the quarantine. The next one went when it was just a sandbox. He did the sandbox. Another one went when it was a sandbox. And 2 of them are still there, and one actually came back to Albania. And because he didn't like the vibe, what was going on in Thailand, because it wasn't the feel. It didn't have what he wanted out of it. It wasn't there, and he was there prior. The other 2 are basically there searching for what Thailand was. They're hoping they still find it because they invested so much money to get back there. And it is praying, but also too, one of them, he's there and he's praying. He has a YouTube channel as well. And he's praying and he's going around the country looking for that vibe, like come and find something. But he's saying it, man, as soon as the Philippines opens, I'm going to the Philippines. Like, and he's hoping that'll be better. So, you know, and everybody that's there is saying it's probably a year or so away before it's back to what it was, and maybe it'll never be back to what it was.
Yeah, so I'm feeling super blessed about being here, and people that have been here a lot longer, like you, and then our other friends have gone down to Vlora, which I'm heading to tomorrow. What's your plans now?
Well, right now, for travel next, I'm looking into Italy because that's just relatively open. They do have some heavy restrictions right now through the new year. They have restrictions to the 15th because they're trying to keep, you know, too many, not they don't want too many people there for the New Year's, right? So they have what they call a super green pass for vaccinated people, which lets you do some stuff. So also too, they reopened the ferries. So you can take the ferries from Albania into southern Italy, so you don't have to fly if you want a different experience, which is really cool. So I was thinking about doing that. I'm looking at that for hopefully next week because the weather's going to be clearing out. And just go for 3 or 4 days. I have some, I'm also part Italian, so I know my family lineage there, and I always wanted to go to that. It's in southern Italy, so I always wanted to go. And I said, all right, here's a great opportunity. Trying to make that happen. So doing my research now of how I'm gonna get across from where the boat drops you off in Italy to where I need to go to. And after that is back to Istanbul. I love Istanbul. And then who knows? Who knows after that point? It all depends on what's open. I have this huge thing about it. I don't really want to spend my money anywhere where I feel I have to conform to so many things just to give you money. It's a huge issue for me. Like when I was in Istanbul, believe it or not, I went from New York, where we were basically locked down for almost 7-8 months. We were locked down for by the time I left. And when I went to Istanbul, Istanbul had just a face mask requirement. That was it. No PCR test, no nothing. It was just face mask. And on the trains and public transportation, they wanted 33% capacity. That was it. First 2 weeks I was there, it was businesses, clubs were open, everything was open. Clubs were open all night long. Then all of a sudden, COVID just spiked up again, and the government was like, okay. They closed all the bars and restaurants, the nightclubs, the cafes, and it went to a ghost town in where I lived because it was all bars, restaurants, cafes. But during the day, all the markets, the bazaars, everything was completely open. The only thing was you couldn't sit in a restaurant and have a meal. So I had 2 weeks of the Istanbul experience just wearing a face mask. Then I went through 10 weeks of silence, dead blocks, dead entire areas. And you were kind of like, all right, that kind of sucked. But when I went back, that was kind of reopened. When I went back in May, it was reopened. So now I want to go back to when that's fully reopened so I can enjoy that again. And plus, I'm a big market guy. I do market videos on my channel as well. And I love that craziness, So.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that before we get too far into this. Talk about your channel, what it is, why it does, and.
All right, I started out as a travel vlogger. Went to Istanbul, and I was making travel videos. I kind of focused on the markets to show people the difference between the bazaars, the street markets, the Grand Bazaar, the different areas of the city to shop in, things like that. Plus, just living there. I did that. Then I came here, and I was doing vlogs around Tirana, and I kind of felt Tirana's such a small city that you get to a point when you're vlogging of what's the next story like how many stories can you make about Tirana, because it's very small, unless you're going to start to focus on people in Tirana and maybe the story of why do people leave here, why does this have a declining population and there's less than 3 million people in this country. There's a lot of fascinating things that I've learned as somebody living here for so long that to me, that's the story of the people. But it's hard to find people Albanians that want to be on camera, who want to tell their story of either they've gone and come back or they're trying aggressively to get out. So I got into live streaming because another friend of mine was doing a lot of live streaming when he was here, and he got me into the live streaming. And I said, you know what? I think that's more of a thing to tell, because I felt that people rather see the streets, they rather see the growth in Albania than me trying to make travel vlogs in Albania. I felt that travel vlogs are very hit and miss. You can make one that'll get 5,000, 2,000, 3,000 views. And then I noticed a lot of people get 300 views. And then I was like, okay, well, if I can do travel live streams every day, just going around and talking to Albanians that grew up here that left right after communism, when the country kind of opened. Those are the people that started watching my channel. And then also people looking to come here. So I had this mix of travelers looking to come here and people who used to live here wanting to see where the city's going.
That is one of the most surprising things about doing videos about Albania, is how many people that moved out of Albania watch your videos that are Albanians, trying to see what's new, because This was 30 years ago, right? This was communist.
30 years ago, communism ended. So a lot of people probably left a little bit in the 90s when they could get out a little better, where it was a little more open. They weren't fleeing as much as more as okay, now we can leave. So I do have a lot of people who they were young here when they left, and now they haven't been back, and now they're looking to reinvest maybe here. They want to see the new growth. They want to see all the new apartment buildings go up. You know, one of the things that's very surprising too, some of the popular channels for Albania don't even speak. They're just either drone channels that focus on the new developments, because these people that live outside of Albania want to see the growth. There's people that make 6-minute videos of just circling the drone around a building.
Well, that's what I was going to say is like, okay, 30 years ago, this actual area was the communist hub.
Yes.
And then right now,
It's the happening.
look at it. I mean, this is Bloku. This is the place where everybody's hanging out, and it's beautiful. And that's like just, 30 years ago, and people couldn't even drive cars here.
Yeah, I think that's the rub on it, right? That's like the rub of the whole thing. Like, this is with the area where everybody was kept out of, and now this is the happening spot everybody comes to.
Right. So I wanted to ask, what I wanted to make sure we get is like, okay, your channel, what is it called again?
Here, promise, give it right there.
Cris4tay.
Cris4tay.
Okay.
So it's a take on my real name. It's
We got your channel, which is, you do a whole bunch of things, but right now you're doing live streams of the city almost every day.
yeah. I'm gonna. Well, YouTube goes by 28 days instead of a 30-day month. So I am focused on doing 28 days straight of live streams, because they're rewarding me of it, and also too, I feel it's the best way to build a tribe or a base. Like, I can make videos, and unless people physically contact me off of YouTube by Instagram, I can't build a rapport with them. Sure, comments are great and all, but to actually have a live chat and to communicate with people and have that discussion. And I'm one of those people, as a New Yorker, I'm not one of those YouTubers who's like, oh, sure, you're probably right. I battle back. I challenge people on, you haven't been here. Like, you left when you were a little kid. I date an Albanian who's been here all of her life except for like 2 years. And, I have Albanian friends of different ages, the ones that are trying to get out, the ones that are trying to make a go of it here. And I felt that live streaming allows me to have this constant back and forth, build a tribe. And I think it's beneficial for me, I want to make, I do always want to make vlogs, and the funny thing to tell you is, I do have a lot of vlogs that I filmed, but with YouTube and the algorithm, if I go ahead and drop a video that is not kind of related to what I've been doing, it hurts me. So I have to sit on material that I want to put out, because the algorithm's saying right now, hey, keep going what you're doing, they're saying. So that's why I'm heavy on the live streams right now. Donation-wise is good. People offer me suggestions of what to do. Or, hey, can you show me this area? It's building the tribe as well, so that's why I do it.
And one thing that I don't cover in my channel is food. I know we had a friend here.
Food expert, Robert. Yeah, food expert, yeah.
And we can go there to learn about the food of Albania. And what would you say about food? Like, what is your go-to here? You're a New Yorker, right? So, like, what here is your...
All right, so where we're sitting right now, you can probably get the most westernized food here with westernized prices, right? You're gonna pay more here for everything in this area. Outside of here, you're gonna get more of like barbecue type food. Taimi, tumi, zagaras, smoked, grilled, the rotisserie food here. Food is very salty here. Doesn't have a lot of flavor. They're not big on spices. They don't like spicy as hot as well. They keep it very simple, salt, maybe a little oregano. They put parsley in things, but parsley doesn't have much flavor. They keep it very basic. They use a lot of cheese, a lot of dairy. I'm not a big dairy fan. I love meat. Bread's a big thing. Bread's a big thing here. The food to me, not to sound negative, but it's more on the basic level. And a lot of it has to do with the times they went through with communism. They didn't have much. They had to make do with what they had. And bread's a big staple here, So you have to get used to eating a lot of bread if you want that.
Yeah, bread and cheese are basics, definitely, when it comes down to it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and simple, they like simple things like tomatoes, onions, olives, olive oil, some bread. They're happy. Put some salt on it, they're good to go. They like salami, they like that kind of stuff.
But my go-to is Pizza Art.
Pizza's good here. Yeah.
That's where I go. I mean, I've been there probably 12 days out of 30.
Yeah, highly recommended.
You guys, go to Toomey quite a bit.
Yeah.
Is there other places that you're just like, hey, I just end up here a lot?
Toomey's interesting because when I first lived here, up until I moved into my current apartment, I lived all on this side of the Lana. So for me to go to like Pizza Arty for pizza, for me to go to Toomey for beer and chicken wings or whatever, it was like the food was safe, never got sick from it, no issues. Service is good. Toomey's very comfortable. The beer is probably the best beer in all of Albania, as far as Tirana, I should say. And when I went to this side, I used to cook a lot at home too. I'm more into cooking my own food. I like a lot of vegetables, things like that. And then when I went to this side, I just really cooked more at home, or tried different pizza areas, or got more into eating around here as well. I got more into eating the sushi, trying all the different sushi places, because I was here long enough where I wanted to sample some of the Western food and compare it to back home, hamburgers, stuff like that, because I got into that phase where, okay, let me start to compare. Because another thing about doing YouTube here and being here for a long time, I had so many Westerners that were thinking about traveling to visit here for a week or two, or moving here. They wanted to know, like, okay, what's it like living there? Where can I hang out? How are the women there? Can you date there? What's the culture like? The food, what's the food like? And that's how I really started to go, okay, let me venture out into these other food areas that Westerners would also be interested in, besides a Toomey or just the pizza. Because I can tell you, Toomey's great. Savlache's like Savlache, I'm not a big fan. Or, pizza's great everywhere. But let me start getting into the hamburgers. Let me get into the sushi and the other places. So, yeah, the food here, I can tell you the Mexican food here sucks. The Chinese here food sucks. Savlache depends if the fries are good or not. The sushi, it's not for me, it's not a culinary place.
Well, I think if you like French or you like Italian,
if you like Italian, yeah.
You're gonna do really well.
Yeah, there are some good Greek, there's a few Greek places here, like Greek Original, which is across from Pizza Arty, it's good. I would say for the most part, anywhere you go here for pizza is pretty good and pretty reasonable priced compared to where I'm from in New York. If you like grilled meats, if you like smoked meats, place is fantastic. But everything's salty. If you're not a big fan of salt, that's the first thing you have to kind of adjust yourself.
And if you're not a coffee drinker,
Yeah.
Sitting around drinking coffee with friends is what this place is all about.
Yes.
Just like we're doing.
Yes.
It's all about the coffee, man. It really is. It is about the coffee. And coming from 3 months of Istanbul, a very flavorful culinary palate, coming to here was kind of like I had to search out for all the spices. And that's why I cooked at home a lot, because I need spice. I need flavor, you know?
Yeah. So what else would you tell people about, you've been here for longer than most people come to Albania. So like last words of like, hey, what, anything you'd like to, say that you've learned in doing your channel and learned being here?
What I've learned from being here is that I'll even knock on some of my friends that I've made along the way, travel friends. There's a difference between watching a travel vlog that people come here and they're here for 3 to 4 days, maybe a week, because people tend to come to Tirana for 2 to 3 days, then go to say Durst and Vlora, maybe then they hop another bus and go to Saranda and they're gone. They don't really hit Korcha, they don't go to Berat, they just hit these certain spots. And they spend maybe max 2 weeks in the country, right? I think they get a lot of things wrong. They don't ever get to really understand the culture. They tend to go to what everybody else has shown before. And I think you miss out on everything. So if you're gonna follow and go to like say Oda for a meal, which everybody goes to because they saw everybody do Oda, there's way better places to eat, There's more traditional places to go to. Like our friend Mr. X, as I call him, Mike, like he asked us a question during one of our live streams. What would we tell somebody coming to Tirana for 2 days? Because like I said, people come here for 2 or 3 days, then they're gone, they go somewhere else. And I would say, if you're gonna come here, what you should do is, if that's your plan, to then go to Durrës and Vlora afterwards, or maybe Saranda, is if you want to get a basic overhaul of the city, right, and you're not staying here long term, because like we've discussed why you want to stay central. So every day you can go in a different direction and walk it. Extremely walkable city. At the Palace of Culture in Skanderbeg Square at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. every day, they have a free walking tour around the city center. That'll give you a good idea of like the lay of the land. So then when you're done with that tour, you can start picking your directions of what you want to explore more of. Because they're going to walk you through Blockhood. They're going to take you around the mall. They're going to take you around Kavaya Street. So you're going to get a sense of like, oh, this is over here. Oh, wait a second. This street has a lot of shopping and a lot of cafes. This one has a lot of restaurants and much more busy and cafes. Oh, this one's more like vibey, like what's going on over here. Oh, the mall is here. You're going to get an instant feel of what's going on in the city, which will then make your next 2 days here much more impactful. Instead of you wandering around going, all right, I only got 2 more days, where am I going? And then you're looking on YouTube going, oh, Oda, let's go eat at Oda. No, you're gonna learn a lot more really quick. And there's a place called the Observatory Piano Bar, which is on the other side of the square, not far from where you're staying, where you can go up and have a coffee, and it's not expensive, and you can get a view of the city and a view of the mountains and sit outside. And it's great, you know? And then, like I said, walk the city, you know? And I would say, pick one museum, I would say Bunkar 2 or House of Leaves, just to get an idea of how crazy communist times were here, and skip the rest of them. You don't need to see the rest of them. And other parting words, to learn Albania takes a long time. I think it's a complicated culture because of the past. And if you're coming here just to travel through, I would say come in here in the late spring. Summer's extremely hot. Come here in the late spring. The winter gets a little cool. So if you're traveling light, you're gonna have to get a jacket, which is gonna kind of mess up your plans. Late spring. Come here late spring, enjoy the city, enjoy everything it offers, and just understand, you know, the people here are very friendly. And if you're a Westerner, especially an American, they're gonna be very helpful to you. And that's it, I would say. I would say, you know, and the foreigners here tend to be really good. That's another thing. Like, there's other places you go to where the foreigners are kind of very standoffish from other foreigners. Here, everybody's like, hey, you know, where you from? You know, like, and meetup groups. So, yeah.
Which is how we met up. So
yeah,
it's been a really nice time here for me in Tirana. I'm off to Vlora for 6 months, but I'll be coming back here for New Year's. So
that's the good thing. Vlora is 2 hours away. So it's a bus trip away. You can always come back.
We're all going to meet up for New Year's. I'll probably come back. I love Tirana. I really love it here. I like living at the beach, of course, but I also will miss this amazing city. So thanks, and everybody.
Thank you.
Cris4tay, and subscribe and check out what it's really like to be here.
Yeah, just wandering around, you know, just wandering around showing the development of the city.
The travel vlogs will show you a little bit, but it's better to see how it really is. You've seen some of that from my videos, but this is a much more down to earth from somebody who's been here for 10 months. All right, see you guys.